What is the Ark of the Covenant? Life Science Owen Jarris article. Well, we know that from the Old Testament, in Exodus, the book of Exodus, they were given the commandments. The 10 Commandments were given by God to Moses, and he was told to place them in the Ark of the Covenant, together with a bowl of manna and the budding rod of Aaron. Now, these are various artist imaging of what the Ark of the Covenant may have looked like. It did have 2 archangels on top of the lid, which is covered in plaques of gold. The Ark of the Covenant was a chest holding the tablets engraved with the 10 Commandments, and according to the Hebrew Bible, the Ark was constructed by, of course, the Israelites. They were camping out in the Sinai desert after their exodus from Egypt. And the Hebrew Bible does not specify when they fled Egypt. It was about 1450 BC. And there's a debate among scholars as to whether there ever was an exodus from Egypt. Well, of course there was. The ark vanished when the Babylonians captured Jerusalem in 587 BC. And from their return from Jerusalem, it was never found again. The ark has a number of seemingly magical powers according to the Hebrew Bible. One story says that while they were passing the Jordan River, the water stopped flowing, remained still while a group of priests carried the ark across the river without becoming wet. Other stories say how the Israelites took the ark with them into battle, where the powers of the ark helped the Israelites defeat their enemies. That's in biblical battles, 12 ancient wars lifted from the Bible. And when the Ark of the Covenant was captured by the Philistines, outbreaks of tumors, disease afflicted them, forcing the Philistines to return the Ark of the Covenant back to the Israelites. Some stories tell of death, how death would come to anyone who touched the Ark or looked inside it. And there were 2 biblical stories describing how the Ark was constructed. And the first, most famous version found in the book of Exodus, describing how large amounts of gold were used to build the ark, and the wood used, acacia wood, I remember. And the second version found in the book of Deuteronomy briefly describes construction of the ark made only of wood. Now, understanding stories around the ark is challenging because of the different accounts, and some scholars feel that multiple arks may have been constructed, used at the same time at different times. The story of the construction of the ark told in the book of Exodus says of great detail how big it is, how God ordered Moses to tell the Israelites to build the ark out of wood and gold, with God supposedly giving very precise instructions. Quote, have them make an ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits, that's 3.75 feet long, a cubit and a half, that's 2.25 feet wide, and a cubit and a half, that's 2.25 feet high, overlay it with pure gold, both inside and out, and make gold molding around it. Poles made of acacia wood to hold and gold were used to carry the ark, and 2 cherubim angels were to be sculpted out of gold, placed on the lid of the ark, and the cherubim are to have their wings spread upward, overshadowing the cover with them. And the cherubim are to face each other looking towards the cover. This is described in Exodus 25:2. And the tablets engraved with the 10 Commandments were placed inside. The Hebrew Bible directed that the Ark of the Covenant be placed within a movable shrine, that is, a tent, the tabernacle. A curtain that prevented people from viewing the Ark of the Covenant was set up within the tabernacle, and the altar and incense burners were placed in front of the curtain. The incense was made of gum resin, onychum, galbanum, and frankincense, and was to be burned by Aaron, the high priest, who was the brother of Moses, 7 years older than him, and his sons at morning and sunset. A man named Bezalel was chosen by God to build the Ark of the Covenant, furnished locations with the tabernacle according to the Hebrew Bible. Quote, I have filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom, with understanding, with knowledge, and with all kinds of skills, to make artistic designs for work in gold, silver, and bronze, to cut the set stones, to work in wood, and to engage in all kinds of crafts. This is in Exodus 31:3-5. Oholiab was chosen by God to be Bezalel's assistant, with skilled craftsmen helping them, as is described in the Hebrew Bible. During the reign of King Solomon, and the first temple, which is the holiest place in Judaism, was constructed in Jerusalem, and the Ark of the Covenant placed in there in a permanent sanctuary covered by gold, as what the Hebrew Bible says. A modest ark. The book of Deuteronomy, on the other hand, tells a story of the construction of a much more modest ark. The book says at one point the Israelites were worshiping a golden calf instead of God. Moses was so angered by this that he smashed the stone tablets engraved with the Ten Commandments, and God ordered Moses to help create new tablets engraved with the Ten Commandments to create a wooden ark that they could be placed in. Now we have to remember that the first tablets represent Israel, the Old Testament, and the new tablets, where the Ten Commandments talk a lot about mercy and God's love, represents the New Testament. And also the dimensions of the ark, as according to what the high priest Gamaliel, after the crucifixion of our Lord Jesus Christ, said. He was supposed to give an account to Pontius Pilate, who was supposed to give an account to Caesar in Rome, as to all the going-ons at the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And they found that that's why Gamaliel became a believer in Christ, that he was the Son of God. They found that the dimensions of the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Covenant was a symbol for Christ. And that the numbers, when you add them up, add up to the number of years from Adam until Christ would be coming back to earth, incarnated God. So, chisel out, he said, 2 stone tablets, like the first one, come up to me on the mountain. Also make a wooden ark, and I will write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets, which you broke, and you are to put them in the ark. So I, Moses, made the ark of acacia wood, and chiseled out 2 stone tablets like the first ones, and I went up to the mountain with the 2 tablets in my hands. The Lord wrote on these tablets what he had written before, the 10 Commandments he had proclaimed to you in the mountain. This is in Deuteronomy 10:3-4. That's my little grandson. He's very small, very, very enthusiastic. Very happy, my love. So, were there multiple arks? It's possible there were multiple arks that could have been used at the same or at different times, but I don't think so. I think there was one. Before all the cultic affairs of the Israelites were concentrated exclusively in the capital, Jerusalem, there had been arks, probably of different sorts, wherever God was worshipped. The professor of religion at Florida International University, who has done extensive research on the Ark of the Covenant, wrote his book, The Lost Ark of the Covenant, Solving the 2,500-Year-Old Mystery of the Fabled Biblical Ark. Well, I haven't read that book, but if anybody knows about it, please let us know what it says. These early arks would have been simple wooden containers, wrote Parfit. After Israeli worship became centralized in Jerusalem, the story may have been retold to describe one elaborate Ark of the Covenant made of gold. Well, I would think that the original Ark would be in the temple in Jerusalem, in Solomon's temple, and maybe they had copies of the Ark. I know for one that there were copies of the Ark, very tiny ones made of gold. They were in the possession of people in the ancient city of Argos in Greece, where the Spartans came from. And if we read the book of Maccabees, the Spartans are of the tribe of Dan. They were Israelites, and they had a paper. They confirmed to the Maccabees, you'll read this in the book of Maccabees, that they were descendants of Abraham, and that they were the brothers of the Maccabees. And they said in their letter, whatever you have is ours, and whatever we have is yours. And since they made that agreement to be brothers and allies, nobody dared touch a hair on the head of the Maccabees, because they had an alliance with the Spartans. Now, I had seen a tiny little copy of the Ark of the Covenant in the museum, the Archaeological Museum of Athens. And if you see it, it looks like they were wearing it. the people, of course, that could afford to have gold jewelry. The other ones that did not have gold jewelry had ceramic copies of the Ark of the Covenant hanging around their neck, just to be over their chest, I would say, like we wear our crosses. They used to wear little emblems in gold of the Ark of the Covenant, tiny ones, beautifully made, or they would be wood or ceramic. So, yeah, they may have had other ones. Now, to tell stories of how the Ark was brought to Ethiopia is now at the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Aksum. Supposedly, only the guardian of the Ark is allowed to view the Ark, but Live Science recently reported that a scholar named Edward Ullendorf saw the Ark during World War II and found that it was not the original Ark. There are many other stories of the Ark survival that Parfoot mentioned in his book, and there are stories about how it's hidden near Jerusalem or in the city of Mecca, and even in New Guinea, of all places. One text called the Treatise of the Vessel, saying the Ark shall not be revealed until the day of the coming of the Messiah, son of David, and the book of Revelation claims that the Ark will not be seen again until the end times. Then God's temple in heaven was opened, and within his temple was seen the Ark of his covenant, and there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, an earthquake, and a severe hailstorm. This is in Revelation 11:19. If you look at the two little things in the center, on the bottom third part, under the crown that's split open, you see two little things with two little angels on the sides. Those are what they had as the symbols of the Ark of the Covenant that the affluent, the elite people of Argos, these are findings from Mycene, and they were in the graves of the Mycene area of Argos, and these were the areas that were inhabited by the tribe of Dan, the Spartans, of course, the Spartans. Okay, and as you can see, they represent the Ark of the Covenant, and the poorer people had the same kind of things. They again are at the museum. They were made of clay or semi-precious metals, but they did carry those things that were symbols of the Ark of the Covenant. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.